Hey guys, welcome back to Release the Craftin, and welcome to another edition of Storycraft. Hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. I am having a blast. As always, I'm accepting all of your requests for ideas down below, so tell me what story you want to hear, and let's jump into it. Today, I figured because we are approaching a Lunar New Year, it's going to be the year of the rabbit, and I did get a request to tell some more stories that are mythological in nature. So here is your mythology. Thank you, BB, for that suggestion. I thought I would tell you guys the myth of the Jade Rabbit. It seems especially timely, even though the story is one that's typically told around the mid, like autumn harvest festival. I thought I would tell you guys it now because you're the rabbit. I'm looking for rabbit stories. Here we go. Plus, it's a really cute story, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So let's get into it. So our story begins in the heavenly palace of the Jade Emperor, and the Jade Emperor has like a doctor, pharmacist, medicine person, alchemist type guy who makes the medicine of the like immortal elixir that the immortals use to stay immortal, and they have to take this pill every 1,000 years to continue having their immortality. It's very important. It has lots of rules. It's very difficult to make, and the pharmacist, his name, and already guys, I'm going to do my best with these pronunciations. Please don't come at me. I have listened to so many people pronounce these. I think I have it, but I'm probably not going to have it. So I'm going to do my best. But it's Lu Gong, and he is the old pharmacist who works in the heavenly palace of the emperor. And he's doing his thing until one day he gets like sort of a wild hair up his butt and decides to give the medicine to some humans so that they can also be immortal. And well, that's the one thing you can't do. You can't give the medicine to anybody who isn't supposed to have it, especially just random humans. And because he does this, the Jade Emperor finds out, and he's like, you thought you were going to get away with it? You didn't. And punishes him to an eternity of chopping down a tree. So you think, like, that's not so bad. He can chop down a tree, but this tree continually, like, regenerates, so he never can actually finish it. So his punishment is to literally cut down this tree that will never stop growing. And he can't stop until until he cuts it down. But if it doesn't stop growing, it's never gonna. It's a lifetime of the most monotonous, arduous, like shoulder breaking task ever. He would be a hit on TikTok though. So now the Jade Emperor needs a new person to make the immortal elixir, and he's busy, so it can't be him. So he decides to go to Earth and put on a stage performance where he gets entirely dressed up as an old, haggard beggar man and sets off into the forest. And he finds a nice little clearing in the forest, and probably in his best like Shakespearean accent, he's really putting on the affectation, going to town to put this on so he looks like an old, sad little man. And he starts crying out like, woe is me, I'm so hungry, if only I could have some food. My life is tragic, things are so hard when you're an emperor, I mean an old man trying to just survive in the world. Everybody is so cruel to me. And he does this for a while, and then nobody seems to respond except for three animals: a monkey, a fox, and a rabbit. And they listen to this old man sort of whine and groan on, and they're like, oh my gosh, we feel so bad for you, you poor pathetic little human, like we're gonna bring you some food. So they set off to bring some food, and Monkey right away is like, I know exactly what I can get him, I'm gonna get him some fruit. So Monkey grabs a couple fruits, has a couple himself, because why go on an empty stomach, and sets back to the old man, the Jade Emperor. Fox is like, okay, I am an excellent hunter, I know what to do. He goes right to the river, he catches some fish, brings that back to the Jade Emperor. Now, you might be wondering, what did the rabbit do? Well, the rabbit didn't have a plan, you guys, because the rabbit kept thinking about all of its own favorite foods and was like, well, I like this grass, and I like that tall grass, and that short grass is especially delicious, and these are all things I enjoy eating, but I know that they're not good enough for a human, so I don't know what to do. So the rabbit just sort of runs around in a panic for a little while, trying to find something suitable for a human palate, and can't think of anything. So by the time it gets back, night has come. The old man is now around a fire. He's eating the fruits that the monkey brought, the fish that the fox brought, and in the absolute biggest anxiety-driven move I've ever seen, the rabbit's like, I don't have anything to offer. You can eat me. It's fine. Use my body. And launches itself into the fire. Um, and the Jade Emperor is understandably shook, but also really moved by this act of like ultimate sacrifice. So he saves the rabbit from the fire, fixes its fur, and is like, you know what, for your sacrifice, I'm going to tell you the truth. I am the Jade Emperor, and I came to Earth because I decided that humans couldn't be trusted with the immortal elixir of immortality and the recipe and the making of it. So I wanted to find an animal companion who could do it, and you've proven to me that you have an honest and noble heart because you were willing to sacrifice yourself so that I could have something to eat. So he takes the rabbit to the heavenly palace and basically shows him the ropes, gets him the recipe, and then grants him immortality and tells him, your job is to now make the medicine that us immortals will use. Every immortal is allowed to have one pill of the heavenly elixir every 1,000 years. Nobody can have it who isn't an immortal, so you can't just give it away. Nobody gets extras. Nobody gets snackies. Like, that's it. These are the rules. You follow this, you will live a blessed life of immortality in this luxury and splendor, and all you have to do is make the medicine for us. So the rabbit's like, wow, upgrade. Suddenly, I've extremely anthropomorphized. I can make medicine. So that's what the rabbit does. Dutifully, faithfully, just continues to make this medicine and hand it out as it's needed every 1,000 years for these immortals. And everything is great. And you're thinking, Priscilla, you've only been talking for a couple of minutes. That can't be the end of the story. And you're right. It is not. Because, meanwhile, while all this stuff is happening, the Jade Emperor has an entirely different problem on the other side of, the Heavenly Kingdom. He has 10 sons. They are extremely unruly. And they're so unruly they can't be tamed. And they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to be the biggest jerks of all. We're all going to turn into literal suns. The suns turn into suns. We're going to go down to earth and we're going to just make everybody extremely hot and miserable. We're going to scorch the place, fuck shit up, cause huge droughts and famines because we can't be controlled. Basically, you're not the boss of me, Dad. These kind of moves. So they go down there. They're terrorizing everybody. The people are praying to the gods, like, could you help us, please? We're literally burning to death out here. And the gods are like, we don't know what to do. How do you stop 10 sons? And the Jade Emperor is like, I tried talking to them, but they won't listen to me. They just said, shut up, Dad. Like, get out of here, Dad. You're useless. And he felt useless. So what does he do? He calls on the immortal divine archer, Hui, to solve this problem for him. He's like, I tried my best. I gave him a stern talking to. I wagged my finger at them. They would not listen. Can you please stop my sons from scorching everybody on the world? And probably causing havoc for us up here as well. And Hui's like, all right, say less. I got this. I'm an immortal archer. I'm a divine heavenly archer. I will use my skills as an archer to solve this problem. So Hui goes to Earth. He evades getting scorched alive and uses his bow and arrow because he is an archer. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. To shoot the suns out of the sky. So he shoots 9 and leaves 1 up there for the balance of it because, they could use a little bit more natural light. He leaves 1 sun in the sky, shoots the rest. So 9 of the Emperor's sons are dead. And the Emperor, surprisingly, is upset that his sons are dead. And he's like, bro, I sent you down there to solve this problem, and you killed my sons? And Hui's like, I'm an archer, not a crisis negotiator. And the Jade Emperor, didn't take too kindly to that. So he's like, all right, okay, you did do what I asked you to do, so I'm not going to, immolate you, but you're banished from heaven. Also your wife. Your wife is also banished for the sole reason of being married to you, the archer I sent to take care of the problem I had, and didn't for some reason think you would use your bow and arrow to solve said problem. So Hoi and his wife, Chang'e, are banished to the earth and they have to live as mortals. And they try to make the best of it. They manage to have a moderately successful average life and things are going by, but Hoi seems to notice like Chang'e is a little bit upset, a little bit destitute, let's say, that she's no longer an immortal divine being living in heaven, enjoying her immortality and the luxury and splendors of the heavenly realm. And this, like, love for his wife sort of takes over and makes him a man obsessed with finding a way to restore their immortality and their divinity so that they can return to the life that his wife has always known. He wants her to be happy. He wants her to be happy so much that he goes on this incredible journey trying to find a way to make them immortal, which takes him to the palace of the Queen Mother of the West. And he tells the Queen Mother of the West, the whole story tells her why he's there, that it's not like he wants to be immortal again. He just wants his wife to be happy. And she seems to be really upset and depressed here in the mortal realm. And he doesn't think it's fair what happened to them, especially her, because she didn't have any part in it. And the Queen Mother of the West is so moved by his story that she's like, okay, give me a second. And she goes up to heaven and goes to the pharmacy of the Jade Rabbit. You see, we were coming back to it. In the Jade Rabbit's office, let's say, she goes to the Jade Rabbit and she says, I would like to get my pill of immortality. And the Jade Rabbit's like, all right, great, here you go. And she's like, and I would like some more. And the Jade Rabbit's like, oh, I'm sorry. The Jade Emperor has decreed that every immortal only gets one. That's the rule. And I can't disobey the emperor. And she's like, I'm the Queen Mother of the West. Are you going to tell me no? You're just a rabbit. And at this point, the rabbit, who we know is an anxious king, a little tiny anxious king, is like, oh my god, I don't know what to do because I don't want to disobey the Jade Emperor, but I also can't disobey the Queen Mother, so internal screaming intensifies. And the Jade Rabbit only does what the Jade Rabbit can do and makes the sacrifice and is like, all right, here, you can have one extra pill. I'm sorry, that's the best I can do for you. I don't want to disobey you, but I also don't want to disobey the Jade Emperor, and this is going to go poorly for me. I just know it. And the Queen Mother is delighted. She thanks him, and she returns to her palace and gives the pill to Hoi. And she tells Hoi that when you take it home, you have to split it in half so that, you and your wife can have half. This will make you both immortal. If you eat the entire pill, then you'll become divine, but it's only enough for one person. So Hoi goes home and he tells Chang'e of his journey and what he found, and they agree to, take some time and get all their affairs in order so that they don't leave their estate in a wreck, and they'll take the pill when they're ready. So they put it in a safe place. And while they're discussing this, Hoi ends up getting called away to go handle some business. And so it's just Chang'e alone with her, her thoughts and the pill of immortality. And what she doesn't know is that while they were discussing this and Hoi was telling her, how he obtained the pill in the first place, his apprentice, Fang Min, overheard the entire story. And he's like, well, with Hoi gone, all I have to do is go through Chang'e to get the divine pill of immortality and I can be immortal. So that's what he does. He gets a knife, he goes in there, he threatens to kill her if she doesn't give over the pill. She doesn't know what to do because she's just a defenseless woman in this situation. And she doesn't want him to have immortality, but she doesn't want, to sacrifice their only option to get their life back, their immortality back. So she takes the pill, she puts it in her mouth to hold it. To hide it so that when he looks in the box, Fangman can't find the pill and he leaves upset thinking that Hoi Yi took it with him. But while Chang'e has the pill in her mouth, it dissolves immediately. And she's like, oh shit. And Hoi Yi returns having heard all of this commotion, and he returns to find Chang'e drifting away up into the heavens because she is now a divine being and she had the entire pill. So Hoi tries to chase after her and catch her and bring her back down to earth, but it's too late. She's now a goddess again, and she floats away into the sky. She finds out that she can't actually go to heaven because they were banished from heaven by the decree of the Jade Emperor. So she ends up going over to the Moon Palace to live the rest of her life, her immortal life, alone. And when the Jade Emperor hears of what happened and how Chang'e is now back in like the heavenly space and is immortal again, he's like, how did this happen? They find out that, the rabbit gave out an extra pill. He goes to the rabbit. He's like, dude, what the hell? I brought you up here. I gave you this whole life. And then you betrayed me like this. I thought you were better than that. And the rabbit's like, I'm so sorry. It is my fault. The Queen Mother came to ask for another pill and I gave it to her even though I knew it was wrong. Please forgive me. I did not mean to betray you. I just didn't know what to do. My anxiety is through the roof. But it is all my fault. And so, once again, the Emperor is impressed that the rabbit was humble enough to admit its own faults and decides to let the rabbit determine its own fate. So he tells, the rabbit, okay, you have committed this great wrong against me, but I don't want to be the one to punish you. So you tell me what's a fitting punishment for someone who did what you did. And the rabbit has to think about it and starts thinking about how the actions or the consequences of his actions led to Chang'e being separated from her love, her husband, Hui, and how she's now all alone on the moon with nobody to attend her, and will have to spend the rest of her life alone. As a result of his carelessness and his unwillingness to say no. So the rabbit decides that the best punishment for him is to go to the Moon Palace and stay there to be the companion of Chang'e and continue to make the immortal elixir, on the moon, since he is the one who knows how to make it. And the Jade Emperor listens to this suggestion and he's like, that is actually very wise, because if the rabbit is on the Moon Palace, that will prevent all these random immortals from trying to come bully this poor defenseless little guy into giving him extra medicine, because not everybody goes to the Moon Palace. That's why it's empty, and that's why Chang'e is alone. So the Emperor decides, okay, you will go, you will be Chang'e's companion for the rest of your life. That is your punishment, to live with a beautiful woman in a lush palace, relatively by yourselves, but at least you'll have some company, and you will continue to make the elixir of immortality for us to use, but we're going to come up with a new distribution system so not everybody has access to you. And that's what happens. The rabbit goes to the Moon Palace and spends the rest of his days living with Chang'e, who is delighted to have a companion in her isolation. But also, on Earth, Hui, who still loves his wife terribly, but is unfortunately mortal and will never be reunited with her, decides to leave offerings of cakes and light lanterns so that she can see that he is still thinking about her every year on the anniversary of her departure, which is the origins of the Mid-Autumn Harvest Festival that they celebrate in China. Which is really beautiful and romantic. They still light lanterns and do mooncakes as celebratory offerings to the moon goddess Chang'e. And Hui ends up being killed tragically by another apprentice who thinks he still has like the immortality pill later on. So his life is very short and tragic. And Chang'e is still up in the moon with her friend, the Jade Rabbit, who you can see if you look at the moon. I know here in the West, we see like a man in the moon or a lady in the moon when you look at the shapes that the moon makes. In the East, they see a rabbit in the moon, which is why you'll find a lot of rabbit-based deities of the moon or stories of the rabbit in the moon in a couple of different Asian mythologies. So yeah, that's my story for you guys today. I hope that you enjoyed that tale. It's a very sad tale. There's a couple of different versions. One where Chang'e is not such a tragic heroine figure, but I really loved this part of the version for her, so that's why I included it in my story. But there is one where she is just so desperate to get back to heaven that she swallows the whole pill before hearing the entire directions from Hui and then realizes her mistake. There's another one where she just eats it because she wants to be immortal. Like, she doesn't want to be immortal, she wants to be divine. So she eats the whole thing and just leaves Hui and is kind of cold and heartless. But that doesn't seem like a good story to me, so I didn't include that because it just seems really mean and spiteful, and like some angry man wrote that version. Somebody who got a little scorned in love, maybe. But yeah, I think this one's a really beautiful story. I think they're both separate stories, the story of the Jade Rabbit and the story of Chang'e and Hui. But I thought that they worked really well together, so I was glad to be able to bring them together. I also just want to like have a discussion with the Jade Emperor about how he raises his sons. Because I feel like this was not a Hoi problem so much as it was a Jade Emperor, maybe not the best disciplinarian problem, but I also don't want to have a conversation with the Jade Emperor. He sounds terrifying, and I don't think I can chop wood for eternity. I just don't have the shoulder muscles for it. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any versions of this that you would like me to know about, please share those below. And as always, if you have any suggestions for the story that you would like to hear next, let me know that as well. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate your faces, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye!